Going live. We are live. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number 220. I'm your host, Greg Gow. Welcome to the gang is all here. Well, mostly. We got Mike and Jeremy and Gio and Don and John and Garth and Lenny and other people, and I'm sure more will show up as the hour progresses. I don't have any particular topic to start off with, so let's go ahead and start off with show and tell. So if anybody has anything they want to show and or tell about, I know Gio has a cool thing. Mike is doing the no wave, so apparently Mike does not have any.
Oh, no, that wasn't it. It was I have something.
Oh, so next time one hand like this, not
Okay.
two hands like this. This is literally no. See, this is no. This is yes. Oh, and Wayne's here, so we're good to go now. Okay, go ahead, Gio.
Okay, I assume that you guys.
I'm gonna need a Bilstein of that.
Okay, so this is the Slot.it R8, Audi R8. So the latest of the GT3 car. So it's not. I mean, it's a new release, but it's not new. It's been around maybe for a couple of months. So this has been sitting in one of my boxes that I received from Armchair for a while now. So last weekend I decided I want to kind of ship and prepare this car for a racing at my track for my digital racing. So as usual, the first steps is checking, kind of reducing the body weight. So target is to try to bring it to 90 grams in this kind of specification that we use in my truck for GT3 cars. So first I check what is the actual weight of the body out of the box. As you can see, it is around 22.5 grams. The scale is not playing well with my phone. So this is the interior tray, which is very well detailed. Actually, the car, Slot did a very good job with the car.
That wasn't your paint job? That was Slot.it?
Yeah, this is not my job.
Wow.
Mine will come later. Yeah, this is out of the box.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's very good. Yeah, also like the details of the engine is really, really good. So the body without the interiors, so it's 16 grams. So which means that the interiors it's around 6 grams. Anyway, so this is the body after I kind of remove some of the extra plastic. So I went to the point where the roof is very soft, let's say. So I brought it down to 10 grams, almost 11 grams. So the other goal that I had in mind was, of course, installing lights, but also I want to install the LED lights. So I looked around LED lights for the fog lights. So I looked around for some reference pictures. And so basically in the rear cars, these come as 4 kind of stripes LEDs. There is one under the main lights. So where basically here I cut the slot and I put an LED here. And then the other two.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm impressed by that tempo sprinting of the Audi Sport. That's amazing.
Yeah.
There are, yeah. So these are on the other side, if you can see over here. So the other LEDs, and then this is the installation for the rear lights, so everything can come apart. So I put the 2 red flat LEDs on each of the rear lights element. So the front ones kind of a bit of a mess. So I put like 1 LED one of the bucket, and then I put another one behind, because the actual kind of element here is like a round kind of LED that should look like in the rear car, but unfortunately this was kind of obstructive too much, kind of an obstruction for the lights shining from behind. So at the end I kind of remove it, but this is basically I kind of try to approach at the beginning. So this kind of shows a bit more details what I was trying to achieve. So I was trying to shine an LED behind it so that this element was kind of flashing as a round one, but didn't work out as a plan. So at the end, I just removed that plastic and opened it up completely so that the LEDs could shine straight through. These are the back, and this is a better picture of the actual weight. This was so actually, yeah. This after I put some weight reduction, so I brought it down to 8.8 grams, reducing also the weight of the rear part. I think that was not that much. So this is the rear bumper. So I try to reduce as much weight as possible from the rear of the car, given that there is a huge motor on the back. This is also the one of the two wheels, wing that you get from the car. So this is the more resistant one. So kind of resistant. So I removed some weight from the back again with the Dremel. The rear of the wing is already black, so it's painted black, but the plastic is also black. So even if you remove material, it stays black. So which I didn't have to paint it. And they start checking the weight of the when putting things together. So around 11 grams. So this is actually then my vac formed interior that then I kind of painted and decorated. As you can see, the level of details is not like the one from Slot.it, but I mean it's gonna be all closed up, so you didn't see much.
Yeah, that looks great.
So
and that's your. Did you vac form on the Slot.it interior?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is with my plastic plates, basically. Then of course I kind of after I kind of vac form, then I spray semi-gloss black on top of it. Otherwise it's gonna be too shiny. And then once it's dry, 24 hours later, then I do the actual decoration.
And that's the roll cage from the Slot.it, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the only things that I add is the heat strings here to kind of simulate the padding that they have around the head of the pilot, and also these kind of safety nets that are around the pilot. So this stuff that I put, I mean, you can see this is basically masking tape, stripe of masking tape, and they plan it back. I mean, nothing fancy. I mean, it is nothing. It's just cutting some stripes and putting them together, then bend it. I mean,
come on, you're making safety webbing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean,
it's all relative. To me, that is over the top. For you, it's nothing special.
Yeah, and the other things that I'm using, apart from the roll cage I'm using from the original chassis, is that it's also this firewall that Slot.it has kind of included in the original chassis, which is a nice detail. So I put it back. I vac formed it as well, but as it doesn't weigh that much, so I just put the original one. Again, this was try to finish everything within 2 days or 2.5 days over the weekend. Okay, so here then started testing the light installation. So here you can see the other two slots that I cut and put the actual LEDs there. And then behind the grill, actually, Slot.it did a good thing with the nice detail with this actual grill is not transparent, the piece with the decals on top. And so some of the rear cars have like, I saw some that have like stripes of LEDs behind the grill. So I put this stuff, I put a red filament LEDs behind it. So to give this extra kind of element to recognize the car. I should have done something on the bleeding on top, but again, honestly, not much time. This is the rear without my blinking central light, so I had to kind of change that. And then I think this one, oh yeah, so I put some extra LEDs behind the shields, number shields, so the cars are like the rear cars. It is again pretty straightforward. And how here I installed my blinking central lights, emergency light. There's a bunch of picture on the track. I took some again of this one.
What did you finally get the body down to? I might have missed that.
No, it didn't. So I think it's 19 grams.
Okay.
I thought that I took a picture of that, but I didn't. So with all,
actually, I might know what the interior weighed, because it was a 6-gram interior in the first place. What does it weigh at the end?
I mean, once I didn't check that. Sorry.
Okay.
So, but so if you take the major elements like the body, the rear bumper, and the wing, that was 11 grams. So all the rest is all remaining details, including the lights and messy wiring.
And is your light chip in the body as well?
I'm going through some quick pictures here. I mean, took a bunch of it. I should have put them in the presentation in the time. So this is what I'm saying, that it's freaking messy. So again, I was doing everything in a bit hurry. So when I do something like that, so basically what I do is I just cut like the wires 10 centimeters long, and then I wire everything up to the connectors here. I should have done a better job, like cutting them short here, and then, you know, kind of merge them like a tree, basically build them up like a tree, and then having just 2 wires going to the connector. And this would have saved, I think, 1 gram. But so anyway, so yeah, again, it's not
19 is still
not the best thing, but yeah.
It's still very light, isn't it? 19. It's still a lot lighter than it was. It was 22.
22. Yeah, 19 with all the lighting and the interior, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a blank. So this is kind of, and also I didn't do the black formed interiors, windows. So the windows are the original one. So which, I don't know, this could have 7 another grams, but I think it's plenty. So this can give a plenty of latitude for kind of adjusting, or for the, I don't know, Euro series, for instance, that is 22 grams, I think. When I was better than I. So there is plenty of opportunities for some optimization, also some kind of playing around with moving the weight forward. This is the chip installation, I think. Yeah, with some of the pictures I took before, I took with the original wheels and tires, because they have the tire marking, and they also bigger tires look better. So this is the setup with running gear and wheels, actually. So the front are NSR ones, which I think I cut them too small. So it's 18.3. I mean, I have to kind of change that, but I'm okay with that for the moment. And the rear one are our 5216 on NSR wheels. And yeah, so yeah, this is set up. I kind of like, so yeah. Well,
have you colored in the motor pod?
No. So this is so you asked whether I colored the motor pod?
Yes.
No. So this is the carbon one that Slot.it does, 1 millimeter offset.
Ah, haven't handled one of those yet. I know they're stiff.
I cannot hear you properly, Wayne. So what did you say?
I'm sorry, I haven't handled one of those yet, and I know that they're very stiff, and I think they're a little bit lighter too.
I have not checked that. You are the chassis nut. I usually work on the body. So one thing that with this chassis is a bit tricky, because so I kind of flattened the chassis, but I believe that not believe, or 100% sure, the front part here, it's it's not flat with the rest of the chassis, so there is a bit of an angle. It's quite a bit of an angle. So basically, the guide already starts up pretty high if you don't use any spacers. Plus, I like this guide. I mean, from Slot.it. But the thing is that with this screw and even there's the screw and what's called a kind of washer here, there is too much wobble. So I have to do something about that. I mean, not 100% happy with that.
Which guide is it, Gio?
Second,
Which guide have you used?
so it's the stock guide from Slot. It comes with this car, so which has 2 grabber screws in the front.
Oh, that will
And,
be CH85, I think. CH85.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a new guide. It's new guide. I mean, it's been around for 1 year or something. I think they introduced it with the Maserati Trofeo. So because of the front splitter, which is not the front splitter, because I think it's the splitter is included in the front of the car, but with this front part of the car, or the chassis, sorry, it's so high that basically it sits really where the actual grab screws are. So if you need to use them to remove the wires and setting up the braids, you need to unscrew the guide and pull it out and then do whatever you need to do and then put it back. A bit annoying. I mean, I would prefer like Thunder Slot where the grab screws are much more visible, but it is.
Gio, I can put you in touch with I can put you in touch with a listing for a very, very wide diameter, very low profile screw, if you think that would help.
Yeah, it just messed it up. With no, actually, I didn't. So basically, yeah, that's all the pictures that I have. The only maybe where is it? Here. Let me share these quickly. This one that just to show you the.
Wasn't the issue with the guide that you basically couldn't get at the screw because of the front of the chassis being in the way for the braids?
Yeah, two
grab
small
screws in
issues.
the front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was one, but the other one is that the guide is slightly wobbly, and if it doesn't want to enlarge the stem diameter, then he could probably get what he wants with a larger diameter washer or a larger diameter screw head.
Okay.
Like the ones that NSR supply.
Yeah. So one of the things that I usually do that I learned from Tamar is actually using self-locking nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then putting M2 grab screw and then put that in. So, which maybe I'm gonna try, but yeah. So for the moment, so this is basically the reference picture that I use for putting the fog lights. As you can see, there are two main two fog lights over the main grille, and then 2 under each of the buckets, the main bucket lights, and then there is this red kind of shining through behind the grille. I mean, as you can see, they put like stripes of LEDs on the side and stripes, but I put on the top. I mean, I don't have anything so small. Let's say, I wish I could have. I could have tested LED stripes without the silicone cover. Huh?
You're letting me down. You couldn't find hair thin LEDs in order to put them vertical in the grill. Come on.
I could. So I could, but okay. So a bit more complicated. The thing is that
I'm messing with you.
I really would have liked to. I would like to have those stripe kind of long filament type of LEDs. If they would come without any silicone around it, just the bloody thing, which would make easier to even like shorten them if you want. But I mean, I try to remove the silicone. I just cut through the bloody thing because they are so thin. But yeah. So the car goes well. So yes, I raise it. Although,
Gio, I wonder if there's a way to dissolve that silicone.
I was gonna say, as soon as he finds a way to do it, he's gonna do it.
I was wondering if there might be a way to dissolve that silicone, so suspend the thing in chemical.
So what would kind of attack silicone?
That's a thing for Google searches. I don't know.
Okay. Will do.
Anywho, anything
Yeah.
else, Joe?
Don't know. I've been Googling that.
You're not gonna have anything that attacks silicone. There is like a silicone thing that breaks it down, makes it gooier, but it's not gonna help.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons silicone is used for so many things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a shame.
All right, any more questions for Gio? Gio, anything else? Okay, fantastic build as per usual. Let's move along. And Mike waved his hand. He's got something to share. What you got, Mike?
I'm trying to play with it here a little bit.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Hey.
Road America Northwest, Washington State, LED plexiglass decoration.
Yeah. This is by Jeremy. Is some of his handiwork, and it was absolutely amazing.
It is cool.
I just put up the videos today, and it's flashing on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Okay, so
beautiful.
I've got quick Google results for you. Sorry to
Of course you
look
do.
back so quickly, but I felt that if I was going to go around the house and try and find something, I would go for either vinegar or alcohol, and it suggests among the easiest and most affordable are vinegar, alcohol, and WD-40. So maybe to give those a go. And by
on
alcohol,
Let me know how that works out for
IPA.
you.
On silicone.
That's what. Yeah. How
You
to
should
No,
film
that's-
that, Wayne.
that's
Film it
complete
and let us see how it
bullshit.
goes. In fact,
Whatever-
put that silicone
that's-
in your car door lock and then
Dude.
use that to get it out. See how that goes.
That's like an that's like an
Yeah,
that'd be AI
nice.
result. That is absolutely
There's
an
no way.
AI result of a bunch of people spewing bullshit.
Maybe, I don't know.
No way do those things do diddly squat to silicone.
Mineral spirits, odorless, or turpentine will soften and remove cured silicon rubber. There are lots of
Mineral
results.
spirits will not touch it.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Maybe 1,000 years.
It's a very nice sign.
We will allow you to experiment and return with your results next week.
Well, it's Geo that has the LED.
I was gonna say you stole Jeremy's thunder when Mike was showing off the really cool thing that Jeremy.
Yeah, sorry.
made for Mike. Jeremy,
I want
has
to hear
got
more about the
something that-
silicone. I got to be honest. You've got to.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's
We're gonna
gonna
have
Something
a-
nobody else knows. Let us know.
We'll have a special report from Wayne next week. Until
I'm
then,
sorry,
I
but-
want to know do I need to do you have an eBay thing for those LED panels, or is that just a friends only thing?
No, I didn't know anybody would want them, so I just made him one. But
Bruh.
yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you want one. Shoot me a message.
That's Etsy worthy right there.
And
Yeah.
that's a combination of Garth, who designed the logo, which I really appreciate, who sent it to Jeremy, and Jeremy made it on his laser.
Yeah.
Deal.
He took the Road America Northwest logo, which was the
Right.
the lettering, right?
Yeah,
But then Jeremy grabbed the Washington State profile or
yeah,
shape. And
yeah.
then
It was perfect.
And then slapped it on his laser cutter and did the lasering and stuck it in the LED thing, and bro.
Yeah.
That should be on the website.
I'll get there eventually.
I mean, but it's a thing that you have to custom,
Yeah, it's just one of those
Customize
things. It's like it's a customized thing for specific need or want. It's like it's a luxury item, so it's not like your track's not going to run without it. It's just something goofy to have at your track. But
The word you might be looking for is bespoke.
bespoke. There you go.
definitely be
Yes.
But it is
People
it
love
is
bespoke
universal.
things. If all they
No,
have
I-
to do is send you like a bitmap, a GIF, or because you can change anything to an SVG, right? Just have them send me the thing that you want, and I'll slap it on, this, and then, dude.
Is your acrylic 4 millimeters thick then? Is that the way?
This is 3mm, but I can get 4mm. But 3mm seems to work best.
Well, your machine will
Well,
cut
then
through
you'd have
that.
to change the base, wouldn't you?
Yeah, those bases you can buy on eBay. and
okay.
then you just got to cut the acrylic the way you want. So that's the
You
hard
could
part.
probably
is getting
even
the
say
base.
you could probably even say, go buy this thing and I'll sell you this thing.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do the bases. Just say, here's a link to the thing you need to buy, and then you pay me to do this thing. People love to get customized stuff. That's
Yeah.
just that's everybody loves.
Mike, was that the multicolored object in the far end of your track?
Yep.
Two nights ago.
Yep.
2 nights ago. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
And Mike, if you push the button once, it goes to like red and then blue or
Yeah.
rainbow. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for the rainbow thing because that's what I had the other day, and I put batteries in it for the
Sure.
week.
Yeah.
Is this a clip from the coverage that we're going to see?
There it is, right there. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty far away.
That's it. Flashing away in the background.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
Glad you like it.
that is very cool.
Notice he's put it where you don't crash into it.
It's actually at a pretty good, not likely to get crashed into place on your layout, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
And good camera viewpoint too. It's like
It is.
like you planned it that way.
Actually, I did.
Alrighty. Any other questions for Mike? Mike, you have anything else to share?
No, except I'm working on Garth's pod. Going into it, I set a time with the original. I'm using this car, the 512M Ferrari, but I set a blisteringly fast time, and I don't know if I'll be able to reproduce it at all. So we'll see how much difference it makes. It may handle really well. This is a good car. It's really a good car. The lap record for my track is 7.22, and I turned a 7.588 with a Sidewinder motor as opposed to a long can Scale Auto. The Scale Auto F1 is the one that does it, which is a much lighter car and a much more powerful car.
This is all no mag, right?
Yes, all no mag. Well, you know how that works.
Oh,
it's mag, no mag. Yeah, because it's on plastic track.
Inline long can is going to have some pull.
Right.
Yeah. So that makes sense. But the 512 is a good running car. So if you get a better time with Garth's pod,
it'll be definitive.
That's something to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or the other possibility, if it's more controllable or more breaks away more evenly or easier to drive, any of those things will make it better. So we'll see.
Did you do any consistent? Did you do like a mean lap and an average lap and a
no, I did not.
Statistics.
I did not. What I should do if I'm going to do that is do it on Arc Pro, because they have on the which is the Arc Pro app, that the aftermarket app. What's his name?
Magic Car.
He has. You can get a printout of
all your laps.
Yeah. So yeah, if I were going to do that, RCS doesn't do that I know of.
What you can do, Mike, is you can just start a stopwatch and drive 100 laps, and then stop your stopwatch and divide it.
Yeah,
that'll be your mean, and then you can get your best from the history from the best lap.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Looking at it as I was doing it, I was just looking for the fastest lap, so I was pushing it hard. Yeah. But looking at it as I do it, it was pretty consistent too. With the slowest lap that I saw was 7.78, I think 7.8 or 7.79. So it was pretty close.
I mean, the 512 is just a good driving car.
Yeah,
like
it
everybody
is.
who's ever gotten a slot at 512 has said that it's a good driving car. So yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one to test with.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it would be a perfect candidate to do it. There's a couple of changes that I had to make to do it, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and use the same setup that I had for the old setup that was in it. You know, the same with the same springs and everything, and see if it runs the same or how it works, and then I'm going to start experimenting with his stuff that he sent me with the foam and that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the initial one I'm going to do with the slotted spring suspension at the rear, because that's what was on it.
Yep.
What Mike's actually telling us, he's finally getting around to the homework we set him 3 weeks ago.
That's true, but I, in my defense, there was
I know.
a new washing machine and a new toilet in between.
Yeah, and I'm aware. Yeah.
There's never a deadline on Worldwide Slot Car Chat homework. All right, good stuff.
Thank
Mike,
you for that reminder, Wayne.
Nice work, mate. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thanks for sharing, Mike. Looking forward to future updates. And Dewan put his hand up. What would you like to share, Dewan?
Oh, just be a good find on the eBay. I put a post on Vintage Revell group that I'm addicted to purchasing old vintage Revell track, but my new fetish is finding NOS, new old stock.
Oh, where the money is.
Yeah, so now I acquired all of the track that I needed to do that Batman track, and then I got the best quality I could find of the used, and I cleaned it up as much as I could, and have more than enough to make that track, and thousands of pieces, but nonetheless I have more than enough to make that up. But now, after my eBay acquisition, I kind of picked up 10 cases of brand new,
Jesus Christ,
never used. Box has been opened but never used.
Okay, what's a case? Is a case a box or is a case a
No,
box?
no, this is only 6. It's only 6, but I got 10 boxes of 6, 6 and a
10 boxes of 6. So a case
Yes.
is 10 boxes of 6.
Oh, okay, I misspoke. I
Hey,
got
Dewan.
10 boxes of 6. I didn't get a
Okay,
case.
still that's a whole lot.
Dewan,
Yeah,
you have
so-
kids, don't you? Like, do they know you're spending their inheritance this way? You have to be stopped.
Can't take it with
That's
you.
the idea.
That's
Look at
the
this.
whole idea.
Yes. Look
Go,
at this.
Dwan,
Brand
go.
new.
Go, Dwan, go.
Look at that. Look at
So
those.
that's the straights, and then I got 4 boxes of the 21Rs, which is very hard to find.
Wow.
12Rs you can find new stock and those all over the place.
And that's
So-
you just having opened the box, right? You didn't already
Yes.
do any work on those.
No, I just opened the box as we were on the air just now, and it's out of the box.
Have you
I don't
solved
think
time travel
you
and gone back to 1965?
So those were obviously fairly well stored.
Yes, it must have been a store. Someone had a store.
He's got a time
or
machine.
Something that, yeah, this was last sold in 1970. That was the last time they manufactured it. So
We won't ask you how much it cost.
it was a bargain for me.
Yeah, probably.
It's all everyone has their value.
That's true.
But, yeah, but that makes.
I mean,
virtually
we're still
every
waiting to see that
component-
Batman track, though.
Every component of my Batman track now will be NOS, new old stock.
Wow.
Now we just, you know what? Once you build it, you should get in touch with Burt Ward and challenge him.
I actually have planned on doing just that.
And you know what? If you, I'm sure, because he has a a shelter for
dogs, and I've reached out
dogs.
to him from that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's into Great Danes, large dogs. And yeah, I've done a lot of research on him. Yeah, so I don't want to think of
And
the stock.
not only that, Dewan, but if you look at him now, you offer him lunch, he'll drive out there in a minute.
Dude, and send some emails to various local news agencies, because that's one of those puff pieces that they love to run, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so
No, put it on your channel. Put it on your channel too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a nice premiere on it when I get to that.
That'll be sweet.
Yeah, still in the hovering around stall pattern right now, waiting for some permits to be finalized. So,
that's cool.
There we go. But nonetheless, I have everything stocked up, ready to go.
Super cool. Good stuff, Dewan. Thanks for sharing. Moving along, John Kitt, what would you got?
Well, I actually got a package today because I guess you watched when I ran my little Proxy race. One of my Professor Motor controllers had kittens. Oh. And yeah, I'm not best impressed, but I thought, okay, give them one more chance because I always like to have one spare just in case. So I actually did receive today via post another controller just to have as a spare. And just if anyone cares to know, for I guess our home purposes, it's PMTR 2110. I think that's the one that you guys recommended to get, and so I got another one.
Yeah, I think there's multiple catalog numbers for the different connectors.
Okay, yeah, because I needed the alligator clips, as you can see. Yeah. Now the only problem is, if I do use this, then I've got two red controllers, so I'll have to pull out the old label maker, I guess. I don't know.
I need to get one of those just so I can help the other guys at the club. Like, half of the guys at the analog club use that controller, and they're always going, I don't know which way to turn this knob. I'm like, I can't believe after this many years, Professor Motor hasn't just made a very simple sticker with, 0 to 10 for here and 0 to 10 for there. It's like, seriously, it's always, which direction do I turn it for less or more? Like, I don't know. There's no sticker on it. I don't have one of those controllers. Just
I think a sticker like that. I think a sticker like that actually needs to go to 11.
It should. I got grief from that on my various 3D printed things that I do 0 to 12 because it's it's like a clock. I get grief for not you doing 0 to 11. Anywho, thank you for sharing.
That's just a little too much perspective.
We always need lots of perspective.
No, but if you know the film, that's another line from the film. Yeah, okay.
Aren't you going to do an impression?
Yeah, but these go to 11.
Actually, Wayne could probably do a better one than me. He just has to talk.
I just did it.
There you go.
But these go to 11.
Thank you, Wayne.
There's a fine line between stupid and genius.
There.
I cross that every day.
Same postal code.
And you never know when a good piece of wood will come in handy.
Okay, moving on. Does anybody else have anything they want to show and tell? I don't see anybody waving hands. I don't hear anybody saying, hey, Greg. Moving on. Club Corner. If you have any past, present, or future racing you want to talk about, now is the time to raise your hand or wave your hand or say, hey, Greg. Lenny's going to go. I assume, Mike, you got... Okay, we'll let Lenny go, and then we'll do Mike. Go ahead, Lenny.
All right. Yep. I assume you can see that. Yeah, there you go. Well, a couple of weeks back, we had one of our cap nights with the indecipherable handicap system that I use. I don't know how it works, but I can't explain it very well. But Steve Lambert finished up winning that on handicap. He started with a 27-lap bonus and then just ran away with it. He'd been having trouble with that particular car. We ran scale electric GTs for this class this time, and he's got this Mercedes he's been having trouble with and finally got it sorted and just ran away with the race. So he finished first on a handicap score of 308. and 0.9. And then Bert, who's one of our the lower midfielders. He's a regular, comes every week. He gave it away for a couple of weeks and then came back, said he missed it too much. So Bert's back with us. And then Andrew, he finished third overall. He actually won the race overall. Sorry, he finished third on handicap and won the race overall. Then there's me, Jason, Norm, Andrew, and Ian. Ian was our scratch man, but his Porsche let him down. He had a little Porsche GT3. And that's been really quick up until this particular race, and then it decided it didn't want to play anymore. So, yeah, so there's the overall result. So Andrew from Jason, very close there, and me in third, about a lap and a bit behind, or nearly 2 laps behind. I lost 2 laps early on with controller settings. I had my controller set up for the wrong car, and it was all over the shop. So it took me 2 laps to get that sorted out. That's where I lost out there. And then everybody else further down. Yeah, so that's overall. There's the podium. So Steve's Mercedes from Bert's Bentley. It's got that going rather well for what it is. And then young Andrew's got a C6. It's actually the same livery as the one I've got. And I was quite confused when I saw the photo. I thought, I don't remember finishing third, but then I realised it was Andrew. So he just nearly acquired it. And I'll keep going with Club Corner. Our next race is our cheap station round, the point score round. So it's for DTMs, modern GTs, and classic touring cars. Trans Am to you guys, I guess. And then on August the 17th, we're running our annual big event, the Spitfire 500. It's actually a 60-minute race, but the idea is to try and break 500 laps. We've done that in all but the first one. The current distance record was 550 laps, so we might have to make it Spitfire 600 before long. So that's about it for me. It's for Revo Slot, LMPs, GT1s, and GT2 cars. So they're all mixed in together. I was considering running it as a class event. So if you're running a GT2 car, you get an award. If you win the GT2 section, you get an award. But we haven't got enough entries for that. We've only got 4 entries so far. So there's 8 drivers. So yeah, so that's it for me. I'll stop the share and get out your way. Thank you for listening.
Hey Lenny, if one of your members actually played an instrument, he'd be Bert back on the track.
Bert's back on the track, yeah. Very good.
You could sing it.
Yeah. I should have realised that when he came back. Yeah. His nickname's Bert the Bulldozer for obvious reasons. He's famous for making his cars incredibly wide when you happen to be on the outside of him.
Come for the slot cars, stay for the puns. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lenny.
We inflict
I'll
punishment.
mention that to him next week when I see him.
All right, good stuff. Go ahead, Dewan.
Oh, I thought Mike was going next.
Yeah. My bad. Mike and then Dewan.
Okay.
Okay. So we had 2 races. We had all of them LMPs, only this time was LMP2s and LMP1s. The first race was Scalextric RS Spiders. I called it the Spider Dance. That was these, which are inline, regular, everyday old Scalextric, which are pretty quick, doing 7.8, 7.9, some of them, pretty nice. And I took that one in that car. And the second race we did the Audi, is it R10 or R8? I can't remember.
Those are
The LMP. At any rate, this one is the race of 1,000 years with that crazy livery on it, looking like a crocodile at the front and all kinds of stuff going on. And it took the win in that one too. And it was really, really close racing. We were the largest distance in either race was 2 laps. and it was close until the end on both sides. And there was the seesawing back and forth in the race. It was pretty much fun. So we had a great time. That's all. Another week.
Just going back on the Audi crocodile car, I was at the 1,000 years, whatever it was called.
Race of 1,000 years.
Yeah, I was actually there. I was chief flag marshal for that one, but that's by the by. But the crocodile car during the warm up, they took the right hand front wheel off it, stuck it into the wall during the warm up. So,
oh really?
Yeah. Alan McNish made a real mess of it. They brought it back and had it going for the race. Won it.
Wow.
Great event. It's a pity politics got in the way and they got canned. But it was politically expedient for the current premier to dump it. But anyway, enough of that. Yeah, good race.
Since we're between reports, a YouTuber has asked where Lenny is from in Australia. What part of Australia are you in?
Adelaide, South Australia.
There we go.
Semaphore Park, to be precise.
We'll see if he's nearby. And all right. Now are you ready, Dewan?
I am just about ready. Let me just go ahead and get to the screen share now. And hold on here. Let's bring up my screen. And hold on, where's my screen at?
I didn't do it.
Oh boy. If I share screen, there it goes.
There's one more share screen to click.
I think this will do it. I don't know.
There we go.
All right. Anyway, we had Club Far Out Slot Car race at Electric Dream Sampson Raceway, Polycar track, named after Dita Sampson. And we were racing two classes. The first class was the Ninko class. And I cannot. I need to open up differently. Hold on. Let me just do this one more time. This doesn't let me zoom in. Almost there. Let me get back to you guys one more time. Try one more time. Can you stop that share?
Sure. Well, okay. They've moved things around. Here we
There,
go.
I stopped it.
Okay, good job.
Let me go back to where I wanted to be. And okay. And here we go. Let's do it this way. Any day now. Share screen. Open up. It didn't open up. Well, let's do this. Let's do it.
All right, Gio, are you?
Here we go.
So you open the folder now. You're not going to be able to.
Did that work?
You're sharing the folder, not the picture.
Ah, crap. Then let's go stop it and do it one more time here. I got it. I got the folder open, but I thought I was going to bring it in there.
You can do it.
It's not rocket science.
There it is.
Oh shit! I was gonna say the same thing, man.
You didn't do it.
Finally, is it there?
There we go.
Okay. All righty.
Be sure to back up your photos on OneDrive.
Close that X on OneDrive. Well, maybe not. Maybe just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. Close that little OneDrive prompt there so we can see people's faces.
Hit the X.
Hit X here.
We need to see Eddie.
And we need to see Eddie.
Okay.
There.
All right.
Okay.
Hey.
Now use the arrow.
Oh, that's
All right. Here
exciting.
we go.
That's
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you, sure.
patience. Anyway, so we're racing the NSR Classics. And I had a great car. And just like always, Murphy had to come in and play his role. We start off, and my car was just, as soon as we hit the start of the race, my car barely got going. It took about 2 laps for it to finally get to me, because the starting point is right. I don't know if you can see right up here. The starting point is right at his hand, and that's way across the lip of the track. And so I'm waiting for my car to come around because it's just creeping around so slow and everything. And then I finally grab the car, pull it up, and fix the brakes, and then it starts functioning normally. But I'm 3 laps behind. So anyhow, I finished this heat, which is my first heat. I was trying to zoom in a little bit. You could see that I actually had finished in 6th, but I had the fastest lap.
Yeah.
And I had the fastest car. I just didn't have I just kept putting 20 laps in because I started so late. But it got better. That's what. So anyhow.
What number is that on the list of drivers' excuses?
No. But I mean, and everyone was saying, whenever my car was coming up on anyone, I was just taking them over, just couldn't catch up. But anyway, so that's the second. That was the first heat. Second heat, I'm still in last place. I think I'm still last. No, yeah, I'm still in last place. That's 6th. Yeah, so I couldn't quite catch up. Anyhow, so anyhow, as the day went on, I finished in 18th out of 19 places.
Not last. What was your car? Which car was it?
I had the red Corvette. Gosh, I had the classic.
Yeah, Corvettes are good.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an anomaly because they say that car is usually pretty slow. Everyone thinks the Jags are the best cars out of the group.
Jags are good because they're long. Yeah.
Yeah. So that everyone tends to like to find a Jag. They're hard to find. They're very expensive. Anyway, so this one somehow is just, and it's got one of the, it has one of the Predator motors in it. We were allowed to use the Predator motors, 1200 or something.
18, I'm sure.
It was really small RPM. I think 1100 or 1200 RPM, to match it down to the NC1s. But that was the first race, and in the second race we went to Revo Group 2s, and again, once again, challenging for me. I started off in 5th. And I should have said who won that last heat. But it was, I'm pretty sure it was Eddie. Eddie won one heat and he finished 3rd in the second race, rather. And second heat I dropped from 5th down to 6th. 25 laps. Yeah. But it was nice getting out. I hadn't raced in a while, and I brought the wrong cars, but I accidentally brought the right cars just in case. I thought I had tested out the Group 5 cars, and not Group 5, the big Regals. Yeah, it's not Group 5. But anyway, I had tested those out, but I hadn't tested the Group 2. But let me just take this along just in case. That's what we raced, and I hadn't even touched those cars 4 months. So I was lucky to get what I got. Yeah.
Not a whole lot to do on those Group 2 cars.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
So anyway, I came up and I ended up coming in. I thought I had the. Oh, I don't have the results here. Darn, I'm sorry. I thought I had the results. Oh well. Anyway, I finished 18th out of 19th in that as well. So, but
How are you liking racing on the Polycar track then?
It was. I found it. I've gotten used to it because the characteristic of this track is a little different because it's downhill into curves, and it's got an underpass at really an awkward spot. So you tend to have a lot of track calls because of that. It's a underpass, so you can't really see it over here. But, a view.
That's
the whole
Samson
track.
Raceway, right? That's
Yes. I think it's a view of the overall track. One of these views have it. Yeah. But you can see the overpass coming from right there, but you can't really see it. And it's in front of the driver's station. And anytime anybody, no, I don't have a really good picture of that. So, but that's the awkward thing. But I stayed on quite a bit. I wasn't coming off like, I'm getting better. That's the way I look at it. So if I can get out the gate properly and not get behind after the initial start of the race, I do a lot better. I think I've improved about 5 spots easily. But that's it. Thanks for indulgence.
I mean, with any race, especially if you have a fast car, you're catching up to people on the straightaway and passing them on the straightaway. You really, really got to focus extra hard on keeping the tail in check when you're going around the turns and the wiggly bits, because remember, you can catch them up in the straightaways.
Yeah.
But if you're driving hard the whole time, you're going to end up.
Yeah. Get wonked as well. You go a little sideways and get wonked, and you're like, yeah. So.
Yeah.
But it was good. I'm feeling. I feel the adrenaline of side by side with other people and passing them up and staying with them and all that kind of stuff. So as opposed to just creeping along and anyway, zoom by me.
Well, for my part, there was a lot of good racing on Monday, per usual. I didn't take any video, but Russ did. I'm sure he'll put a video up in the coming days on his channel. On Monday, we raced at Blair's track, which is a 3-lane routed wood track that has 2 semi-squeezes that you've already heard me rant about. I won't go into it. And because we raced crash and burn, it's a tricky thing to do. And we're racing NSR Classics, so we've got a mix of P68, primarily P68s, because those are the easiest, most consistent cars in that class of cars from NSR. And myself and another guy are running
908/3.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, and they're quick, but a little bit harder to drive than the P68s are. Yeah, I did not do good on Monday night. I did not come in last, but I was way down. Further than I normally am. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it.
It's quite surprising to understand how the P68 is as good as it is, because it's got relatively long overhangs and a relatively short wheelbase, and it must be low. It must have a very low CG naturally.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I don't own either one, but it would be a difficult choice between those two. I've seen a 9083 go, and I know that it's the car of choice from the category in general terms. When I've seen the Facebook posts from the Wales and West Championship, which runs, well, I would say generally within about a 3-hour drive of me, but I've never actually attended one. They do wood tracks as well as plastic tracks, and they do Scale Electric Sport, I think, as well as some Ninko. And they take the same cars to all the tracks with the same tyres. And the 9083 is definitely the one that shines in that category at those events. But there's some really, really good drivers building those cars, and you know they make them really go. The P68 is it's deceptively good.
And I think it's that, like I think I've mentioned this before, but my very first NSR Classic was the P68, and it was a race leader, even though I was fairly new to slot car racing at the time, relatively new at the time, and there was a much wider array of NSR Classics on the grid. There were GT40s, and there were GT40 Mark IVs, and there were P68s, and whatever else was available at the time. But over time, the P68s got more and more popular. The last time we ran them, I ran a GT40 Mark IV, and I ended up having to put weight in the back in order to compete with the P68s. And then this time, like literally out of 11 racers, 9 of them are P68s, and
Yeah.
It's got to do with their center of gravity. They're basically the Mosler of NSR Classics.
Yeah.
If you want to have that instant, consistency and edge and ease of drive, get a P68. If you want to work on your car and you want to challenge your driving skills and you want to be not like the other guys, get a 908, get a pretty much anything but the P68.
Yeah, one guy brought a 908 3-2-hour wood track at the North Wales Slot Car Club, and it was damn horrible for a long, long time. I don't know whether he ever sorted it. I'm afraid I stopped going as often as I did. But yeah, P68 I borrowed and drove because I hadn't got a car for the category, and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that, I never thought about the P68, but the every club has the one guy who wins every week, the top guy. In our club, he's just driving regular, but one of the guys who's never won before is actually leading with a P68. He's the only person driving one. And I just thought about that after you said that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Because, he's been dominant. I just thought, well, he's finally coming around. He's got the cartoon, but maybe there's more to it.
I'm more surprised that more guys aren't running the P68.
Well, now that half of them watch the show now, so I'm sure they will be. But yeah, it used to be nice when nobody watched the show. No.
And seeing that dude go do so well with the P68. Even if
he's a mid-range guy, and he is beating our top driver now in points. And I was like, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
Yeah, so and my Mark IV was just not doing it, and until I thought about why in the world is the P68 being so much more consistent. It's that long ass tail it's got hanging over the rear wheels, and as soon as I put a few grams in the back of my Mark IV, it was right there with the P68. So either P68 or throw some weight in the back of those other cars, and they'll be right alongside the P68. Depends on your rules, obviously, but
that's a weird one.
It is, right? And that's why it wasn't my immediate, well, this might work. It was like I had to think about it. I'm like, why in the world? And then, from what I've learned through, 200 episodes of you guys helping me understand things, and I got the, the light bulb and tried it out, and it helped. The only reason I didn't run the Mark IV again is because that Sunoco 908 came out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run that.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
All right, that's the end of me. Dewan's holding a car, and I know Gio's got something that he wants to talk about. But Dewan, what are you holding up there, Dewan? Oh, that's your Corvette. I didn't even know they made a Streamliner version.
That's the world speed record
that's
car.
The one that isn't that the one that MR Slot Car's coming out with?
Well, that's a Ninco. I think it was called the SR2, the actual car.
Yeah,
SR2.
Isn't that the world speed record car?
Yeah, that's what SR. That's what.
No, I think it actually was a road racer.
There was one they marketed without that, and it had the fin like that. That said something about world record.
Makes it look almost like a D-type, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Has that got a sprung guide? It looks like it hangs very low.
think
If
it's
it's an
a
OEM guide, it'll be sprung.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
1957 Corvette.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is my speedster.
That's a good car.
Yeah.
The Corvettes are good cars to begin with, and
Well, the Corvette and Jag are probably the top 2 cars.
yeah.
Then after that, it's kind of a tier 2 list.
What type is the Jag?
It's a,
What is it? 1.4? What's like some
What?
XK? I don't know. Come up with
Is
a
it
cool
the
name,
one that's
Jaguar.
got the fin behind the driver? Oh, the cab.
XK120.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to let Gio do his thing, and then we're going to ask Courtney because apparently people want to know about his Proxy stuff. So get ready for your Revo Slot Group 2 Proxy stuff there, Courtney. Go ahead, Gio.
Okay, so given that I prepared the car over the weekend, then I went to race it last night. And so this was the first time that the car, I didn't do any laps with it. I just tested it for lights, and then when I tried to go with the throttle, this is before Wednesday, I think it was Monday. So when I tried to go, the car was going backwards. So yeah, the night or the evening before the actual race, I had to kind of resolder the motor to the chip, and so no lap completed before putting the car on the track for racing. So it was just 4 of us, a couple of people traveling, and so went ahead anyway. So this is the lineup for practice. So we just did a bunch of laps to make sure that everything is working and warming up the motor. Then we went into qualify, and the R8 was performing pretty well. I mean, considering that it is pretty cold and whatnot, I mean, 5.65 out of the box. It's, I mean, not out of the box, but just out of the bench, let's say. So it's not bad. Also, very good fuel consumption. What's called the Jan had the problem with this controller. This is something super weird that hasn't never happened before. I think kind of the controller went in a kind of weird state that pressing full throttle, the car was not going. Although you could hear a bit of sound from the motor winding up, but it was not going. So we decided, let's swap car. Let's see when maybe the motor screw up or something. So we swapped with another car, same thing. And so just plugging back the controller, basically reset the controller, and everything was working. So it just had the times for 6 laps to run. I still, decent lap for him. And James with the Lambo, he did some work on his car, so kind of removing a bit of weight, and now he's below the 6 seconds, which is pretty good. So when the race won, this is kind of the lineup, and during when the lights were kind of counting down, I made small mistakes, fucking rookie mistakes of going before all the lights were off. So I had to kind of go for 10 seconds pit stop because of false start. So which basically put me like 3 laps or 2 laps behind the rest of the pack. So I had to kind of get up and try to gain position. The car wasn't performing well, so I managed a 5.56, which is in race condition is pretty respectable. And so my kind of after I managed to overtake James and Mike with 8 Racing, I was approaching pretty closely to Jan. And in the last bit of the race, it kind of ran out of fuel, but the freaking software still counted this lap. So although I finished a bit in front of him, still I didn't manage to have to get him the same laps. But yeah, anyway, so I got to the finish there. So second race, so this is the lineup. So this time I was very careful with my start. And well, this time race, I was very careful. So during the race, without going too crazy, the car started like, I don't know, seems to slow down a bit. Although again, I was trying to push for some quick laps, but nothing was really happening. And instead of crashing, I tried to preserve the car until the end. And yeah, I was still pretty close behind. A false lap from short lap from a McLaren, which I know that has that kind of problem. And in the following race, I put a bit of inox on the brakes, which solved the problem. And James, although came last, although not that far off from Mike, he still had another quick lap below the 6 seconds. So he's getting consistent. I mean, he's getting really tough to overtake, because even if he's kind of lapping, you are 10 laps in front of him, when you're overtaking, it does not slow down. So if it does not crash, overtaking him is pretty tough. So then when it's semi-dark with one light only on, and here kind of I think there was, I don't remember here what happened, there was maybe missing a lap or something. But anyway, I was one lap behind Jan at the beginning, not knowing, I don't know how that happened. But at the end, I didn't manage to kind of resolve the issue, because it was still like 3 or 4 laps in front of me. Mainly got advantage of while he was even repairing in the pit stop, people were crashing. And so he's one of the first going to the pit. So the other people have low fuel, so which car goes quicker, and so they crash quite a lot. I try to stay out as much as I can, because my fuel consumption usually is less than the others, which is a bad strategy. So by the time he's done with all these crashes, it gets like a couple of laps in front of me. And then it's like another 3, maybe another lap during the second pit stop. And basically the race is over. By the time you have a couple of minutes, I mean, getting one lap on him, it's not easy task. Although the R8 was performing pretty decent again. I don't know, there was a bit of let go sometimes. So then this last race, completely darkness, reverse grid, and kind of a similar story. Although I also had to repair, so which again, because there was no truck call while I was repairing, cost me quite a lot compared to Jan. So overall, yeah, I'm kind of happy. So the R8 has, I think, quite good potential as a car. So thinking about Suzuka as a potential entry for the race into 2025. The guide maybe was, I mean, I had a couple of kind of offs.
I might have missed something. You're G Racing, right?
Yeah.
So you had 5 damage points, right? That's what the 5 is.
Yeah, with the 5 damage points, it means that you have to repair. So we have a 5 damage points each.
But 65 Red Line had 7 damage points and still got 4 laps more than you.
Yeah, so basically during is a repair, if there are truck calls, you can still repair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's
he wasn't running an R8. What was he running?
Sideways McLaren.
Okay.
It's a good car. I mean, it's a good car, right? This one, the Golf.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, I know it was it's a short race.
14 minutes.
Why would you want to run the Audi?
Say again?
You were saying the Audi would be good for a longer race.
Okay, so I think, so from the performance, the car could be a good long, it has a lot of potential. If, for instance, I would change the the guide for something less wobbly, let's say, because I had a couple of weird offs. Okay, so that's one of one of the changing the guide maybe would cure some of those with offs, and I don't know. So if the other thing, I don't know. So I believe that the car per se.
You're thinking that it's like more consistent, more easier to drive or something.
Yeah.
Like
so yeah, I'm comparing it with, for instance, the M4 from Sideways. So yeah, this one out of the box was an easy car to drive than the M4 out of the box. I mean, I'm saying like as a first race, you have to adapt a bit to the car.
Yeah, and you haven't really done anything to it. You just did the basic chassis. You have not done much of anything to the chassis.
No, you saw what I did basically, right? I mean, I use a kind of all standard components, let's say, that we use normally. The guide was the usual guide. I mean, yeah. So
but, yeah, you're thinking that basically with a little bit more time, you can get what you want out of the Audi.
Yeah, I believe that.
Plus in it.
What was that, Wayne?
Try a slotting plus in there.
The guide.
Yeah.
So something I can adjust the length of the stem and also a bit more guide into the slot as well. Well, at the moment still I can see a bit of air.
My limited experience with that CH85D is that it's got a stem that is naturally a little bit narrow. It was, if you remember, it's the guide that we discovered had been swapped into our car at Paul Ricard, and we took it out, swapped it back to a slotting plus, which was rock solid.
Yeah. I mean,
no wobble.
No wobble. Yeah. So I don't know if it's because the stem maybe is a bit too short, or because I cannot adjust that. That's what's coming. I got what I got, or maybe the screws on top, or maybe as you're saying when the stem is a bit too small.
It's tenths of millimeters. It's tiny, but you can feel it.
There is quite a lot of wobble. I mean, I can feel it. So, but also I don't know. I mean, as I said, for a longer race, because it's a very for most of the time predictable car, this could be a good car for a circuit like Suzuka, for instance.
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking.
You want me to bite on that? I'm ambivalent at the moment. I've got no comment on that at the moment.
He doesn't want you to bite. He's just positing. He's just saying.
Exactly. I mean, I don't care what he thinks. I mean, at the end, I'm going to decide the body. He just has to build the freaking chassis.
Yeah. That's fine. You can pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, what I want is just something. I mean, that looks nice and is competitive. I mean, as I said, I'm also. It's not like I'm sold to this one. This is going to be the car, but I would not mind to take a it's a Japanese car. I mean, the Lexus or the Nissan GTR.
I know what you said, but I think you're going to come up against the likelihood that the 201 slot cars Porsche might very well be in the offing as well for that opportunity.
I mean, if he's able to kind of again, I tested the new pod, for instance, and it's much better than it was before. So if he's able to produce the new car with the new chassis, new pod, or similar chassis pod, and we have time to test it, then more than happy.
The drawings are coming along. It's definitely changing, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody, I guess maybe Una or whoever, the Ferrari F40, no matter who puts a chassis under it, for whatever reason, that car seems to just haul. It's super consistent. Slot.it, Polycar, Revo slot. I'm thinking like, is there like a mathematical formula that you can apply to the F40 for like track width,
Yes.
the whole bit, right?
I know what you mean.
The CG at the back, the CG at the front, the CG at the middle, like everything that you can say, maybe this is why the F40 is just always
Yeah.
a runner, right? And then
Yeah.
apply that math to something else.
The thing is that the cars are what the cars are, and you only got to look at the comment that Gio just made, which was that the Audi seems to be much more of a natural performer than the BMW that he's just been using. And if you think about the BMW, you know what it is. It's a large car with a tall height, and it's just physically big. I mean, it's similar in the way that you can compare a scale-electric Bentley to any other scale-electric GT3.
Yep.
They all pretty well beat the Bentley in most circumstances. I'm not saying there can't be a good Bentley, because there can.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
Ferrari F40s are always good.
I've seen some of the posts by other people and Una in response to them about the slotification of his designs. Can you slotify to benefit, to err towards an F40 algorithm, I guess is the best word for it.
Well, the easiest way to get there is to actually create an F40, isn't it?
I mean,
so you're looking for like what the magic triangle is, like 2.59
basically, yeah.
to
No,
1.
Fantastic.
Does it
Perfect.
comparable
That's exactly
to the
what I'm
body
talking
size, length, width, height?
Yes.
Does that measure?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Like,
magic
probably
triangle.
like a
What is the
Porsche
magic triangle of
959.
the F40 clearly has a magic triangle, because no matter who puts it together, it's a good runner. Figure out the magic triangle of the F40, and then maybe that can be applied to other body types without completely, morphing them into something ridiculous. They still look like the thing they're supposed to look like, but they have close to the magic triangle of the F40.
So just do some ratio and look at a Moser ratio and see how close they are. Because those two cars that are the same. You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying those, like for the triangle, those two cars, if they're comparable.
Between the two. Yep. F40, Mosler, always top of
if they have the same ratio. I don't know.
It's interesting you should mention this, because we, as you know, well, Yona and I have been discussing this slotification. I didn't know he'd published anything on the subject, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And I've seen a rapid prototype FDM, and there's one. Yeah, there's a classic example of Polycar on a hybrid chassis. So yeah, he's actually rapid prototyped one of his shapes, and he's very, very happy with it. He actually said it looks more like what I intended it to than it did when it was a true 132 scale.
Well, that goes back to what Dennis was saying, in that you can't just shrink something to 1/32 of everything and have it look good. You've got to tweak it a little bit to have it look good to have it look as you think it should look.
Yes.
1/32. Yeah.
Of course, we have regulation sets that we're working within. We don't have to push them all,
Yeah.
And
Garth, that's the chassis. We're just talking about the body. I mean, the chassis can make a huge difference. Obviously, the chassis makes a big difference. But for whatever reason, it seems like no matter what chassis is under it, an F40 body owns the track.
So, I mean, about that, so basically, it also depends which other cars they are racing against, right? So, it's not the most efficiency is all winner, because no matter what, I mean, it's usually used in an open class, and it's quick car because of the crazy kind of slotification there.
Well, what goes in the same class as an F40? 911 GT Evo, GT1 Evo,
which is a huge tail, and big ass. McLaren as well as a huge, especially the Le Mans version that has a huge tail that Is it there because of all the high speed that you don't reach in 130 seconds, right? So yeah, I mean
just looking at that picture, we've got, you know what, 15% of in front of the front axle, 50%, whatever, 60% between the axles, 10 or whatever behind the rear axle. That's what I'm talking about.
There's a lot of other things going on. The side windows are not vertical; they're sloped towards one another. That makes the roof physically smaller.
Yeah.
I think the angle of the windscreen probably plays a part.
Yeah.
I think the low nose plays a part.
Yeah.
I think the large horizontal part of the splitter on the front may also play a part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah. That's basically what I'm saying. If we could figure out the magic triangle of the F40, can that be applied to other classes of cars? Obviously, the F40 is in a limited class. You can't just put an F40 body in with GT3 cars. But can you figure out that magic triangle and apply that to GT3 cars and not have them look ridiculous?
I'm surprised that one's actually hit the top of the list. I'm surprised, obviously.
It might not be speed. It might not be speed. It might just be consistency. It might just be, whatever. It's like all those things combined. I've never heard anybody complain about an F40.
It looks like it's got a pretty solid rear wing to it too. It doesn't look flimsy. However, it does look like a short overhang at the back. But looking at the underside shots I just saw, it also looks like there's plenty of body shell going on behind the rear wheels, which is a thing that I'm not sure I like.
Well, it's not hanging way out the back like a P68 does, but it's also not cut off at the back like a 908.
That's correct. Like a 908 is. That's right. Well, which is obviously a completely different class, but also a good car.
Yeah.
Or can be.
But basically, this is somewhere in the middle of long ass tail and no tail. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Is that back silver screw, the body shell mount?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see, I think the location of the rear body mount also plays a part.
Sure, but you got to have body back there to mount it to.
You've got to have body, you've got to have chassis, you've got to have both. I know that's one thing that Jonas is changing about his Porsche.
Like I said, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, we all do.
You have homework now.
Whenever there's a class that the F40 runs in, I run an F40. Basically.
You see, Garth's got a couple of those. He could actually take to one of them and do a lot of what Geo does.
I have a lot more than a couple. I have a dozen of them.
I was going to say, he loves him some S40s.
I think it's wheelbase, Greg. It's wheelbase
or guide lead.
Combination of the body weight, the center of grit, the weight of the body, and how low the weight is on the body.
Yeah. The magic triangle. The magic triangle basically is just a convenient word to use to say, guide lead, wheelbase, track, center of gravity, behind the rear axle, in front of the front axle, just all those things. It's a magic, quintuplagon or whatever the heck you want to call it. All of those things come into play, making that, for whatever, all of those reasons. Literally, like you say, I want to run fly GT1 class F40. I want to run, Slot.it GT1 F40. I want to run Revo G40, F40. Like friggin', if there's a class that an F40 fits in, I run it. Because of whatever magic pentagon or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't tend to be favoured here at all. We're 40s. So depends on your track service, maybe. Well,
But all around, like just generally. I mean, obviously, short track you want a short car for you know all the, and long track you want a long car.
What does gain favour for you then, Lenny?
What in Revo?
Against
Yeah, the tracks you
the
run.
Marcos is one of them.
The Marcos
GT.
Yeah.
A couple of guys have got one in particular's got a really fast Ferrari 333 SP because we throw them all in together, all the Revos, all ran in the one class. I had a fairly quick Porsche GT2 for a while there, but it's got off the boil. But no, a few of the guys have tried the Ferrari, but it did very, very well.
I've never heard about it much, but the Ferrari 333 looks like a car that should be good.
It's heavy though in Revo Slot.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's, you know, we've all got a Dremel and time.
and John D on YouTube suggests that there might be some placebo effect with the geometry of the F40 body with the low nose and the slanted windows and all that stuff.
And it's red, which we all know is 2/10 faster.
Well, I'm a dissenter in that regard. I had never got on with my slotted F40, and it's interesting. One of the things that bothers me is the rear engine cover assembly is fairly heavy at that point. I think if I made it out of Lexan, it might, improve it, but it hasn't been very, very good. Although it has won a race, I've been playing with it. So, it's faster, but it isn't a barn burner in my track.
That's one of the weird things that I've discovered with car geometry, let's say. I remember a long time ago we ran a Slot.it Classic Le Mans, series, and I happened to pick the Chaparral with the big tall wing in the back.
Oh,
I was the only one running that.
Yeah,
I was kicking butt, and it's like, well, why? Really? Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't a good racer. I mean, I'm not a good racer now, but even back then, I was definitely not a good racer, and I was winning races, and it's like, well, why? And nobody else was running the Chaparral. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's this. It had a short tail, right? So basically, you got wheel and then tail, nothing really hanging out behind that. But then it had this tall ass wing, and I'm like, well, maybe that extra high COG at the back is making it better, right? And that kind of goes with what we were talking about with the P68. It's got this long tail that's lower, but it's long. Yeah.
Now, part of this is it's so track specific.
I think it depends on.
Yeah, I mean, most of the tracks that we run on, we're mostly running on garage size tracks. The 8x24 tops, right? So the max long straight is only 20 feet. So it's definitely not about top speed most of the time.
Is it mostly sweeping corners though, rather than tight ones? Or
I mean, there's most of the tracks are pretty varied as far as turns are concerned. So you got one sweepy-ish turn, and then you've got other turns that are S's and switchbacks and whatever you want to call them. The biggest track we ever run on would be Alan's commercial size tracks that are friggin' 40 by 20 or whatever the actual floor space they pick up.
And what do you use on that track?
I mean, we run the same cars on his track, but he generally runs. I mean, he runs 1/24th cars on his track, but also he does run 1/32nd. Like at the 24 hours this November, he's going to be doing support races, which I will be participating in, of Revo Slot GTs, GT1s, so 1/32nd scale cars. I'll probably run my F40.
You know, now I have to buy one just to find out.
BRM minis, so the minis and the Capris and the Alphas and stuff, and then BRM whatever. Currently it says BRM Le Mans, but he said he might be changing that. But if he runs Le Mans, then I'm going to do my 512. Everything runs good on his track. I've never really felt. I mean, yeah, the shorter cars. Okay, yeah, so longer cars are better on his big ass tracks.
Yeah.
But
does anyone run on plastic with R4s and R5s in their plastic layouts?
we don't have any plastic with our 5s. All of our plastic is Scalextric.
Yeah, and the R4 and 5 is
You're
only
talking about radii, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any Ninco or Polycar or Scalauto in our application yet.
See, the interesting thing about the Paul Ricard circuit was it featured quite a lot of long radius turns, and it was
Do they have R5s in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
R5 being the outside of the sweeper at the end of the straight, and I'm sure the next corner was also that for 4 and 5.
Yeah, but we didn't use that many, did we? Because we're running in lane 1 and lane 2 most. That's or maybe lane 3.
Yeah, but I mean, just to go that fast into an R4 is a rare privilege. And you needed to learn to drive, not particularly the ones at the end of the straight, but the one that led on to the straight, the long one there, and the long ones in the infield.
Garth.
They really needed some learning to drive them well, didn't they? You couldn't use your point and squirt styles.
No. Yeah, it's not a point and squirt track. I mean, it is reminiscent of a 911 Evo with its long slant nose, but the 911 doesn't, for whatever reason, it doesn't get as high on the list as the F40 does. I don't know.
What, you mean the Porsches?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Porsche body shells. I personally always struggled with Porsche body shells, not just in slot cars, but also in bigger cars. I've had them at 1/10 scale, and they're just awful to drive. So I'm not a massive fan of any Porsche.
Yeah. So there's some magic that we're missing here. I don't know.
No, we're not necessarily missing it. I think you need to understand it if you're going to build good cars again and again and again. But there is this phenomenon, you see, where people in slot car racing tend to have what I consider to be too many cars in general. So many that they cannot ever have enough practice and time to drill down into one particular car and develop it and change it again and again and again until they really, really master that one car. Because you're always changing classes. It's the same at my club. You would run a car and then 5 weeks later you might get to run it again. And I know that's not that infrequent. People like Jeremy there with his number of classes, and you well, at least you run the same car for a long period of time before you junk it, and then maybe one day it will come back, but you will run it, and you can get to know it by changing it and tweaking it and taking it again, and you could drill down into a given car. But with RC racing, you will buy a car and you'll probably change its body shell once or twice during the season. And you might change it for a different shape, but you'll basically run the same chassis underneath all the body shells. And you'll just keep learning about your chassis and changing the springs and changing the damping and changing its geometries. And you'll really go down into it.
At that scale, the chassis is everything. I mean, the entire body is Lexan, so the shape doesn't really affect this.
Oh, no, that's not true at all. It's just like slot car racing insofar as there is a given body shell that generally tends to become de rigueur for most of the field.
I mean,
you only got to look at the D3 retro racing in California. They all run the TI-22. Nothing else works.
Is that drift racing that you're talking about, Lenny?
No,
the
the
124
retro
scale.
racing. I think Mike does a bit of that, don't you, Mike?
Dennis does.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, we're talking about Alexan slot body. I see.
Slot cars, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
The 24 scale.
Right.
It's meant to be a scratch
With the
build class
metal
that everybody
chassis.
buys.
Yeah. In RC, each manufacturer would come out with a new one. And what's happened over the years that touring cars in particular have ceased to look like touring cars because they know what works.
Yeah.
And they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and they keep the homologation body that a manufacturer must submit a body shell to for it to become on the list of allowable body shells has not really done their job. They've applied the regulations, but the regulations aren't specific enough to stop the developments that have occurred. And now the touring cars don't look like touring cars anymore. They look like a jelly mold.
Yeah, they're slotifying or RCifying.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're optimizing and changing this and changing that. And one only has to observe what they have done to observe what makes a body shell function better. And you can take what you see about the shapes in RC and go, okay, so if that's the optimal shape for an RC, then why would it not be the optimal shape for a slot car? And of course, the optimal shape is the Group C, the wing car body shell that the Flexi cars use and the wing cars use. But as close as you can get to that with plastic would probably your optimal shape, which is why your 9083 looks like a good shell.
I mean, it doesn't look like a wing car.
No, but it's got that low nose. It comes up over the wheels. There's no cockpit, and then it goes up again at the back. And if you look at a 1/8 scale RC car, that's the fundamental shape they all are.
The P68 definitely has a lower nose. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It's very, very peculiar and unique in its shape compared to nearly any other slot car that we can buy with a plastic body shell, and deceptively good, despite the fact that it's got long overhangs.
Yeah. All right, I'm pretty sure
I think it's the old rule that if it doesn't work on the full-size racetrack, it'll work as a slot car. If they're rubbish on the racetrack.
Yeah. It was a POS in full size, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's like the Lotus 40 was a piece of junk. Well, Lotus 30, then the Lotus 40, which was 10 more things wrong with it. They were rubbish on the racetrack, but as a slot car, they were brilliant back in the 60s. Everybody had one.
Fascinating subject.
Yeah.
Were we going to make some time for Courtney?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we had something else we wanted to get to. Courtney, did you want to talk about your Group 2 proxy entry?
Sure. Let me share my screen.
Please.
Find one here and share, and I think we should be good.
Something's coming in.
Is everybody seeing it?
Here we go. HRW.
I like that colorway. That's nice.
So, yeah. So I qualified second out at Rob's track in Canada, Western Canada. And the car worked pretty good here, but it definitely was nothing special on my track. I've got 30 shore tires. The one thing I did do is I saw somewhere where a guy chamfered all the edges of the chassis. Well, I didn't go quite that far, but I took the chassis all the way apart, and I sanded the anodizing with 600 grit, or maybe it was 800 grit sandpaper to smooth the car out. They're just so noisy and rattly, and I am not a good Revo slot builder. I kind of heated up the bearings. I lubed those all up. I left the stock bearings. If I was really excited, I would do ceramics on it, but I didn't do any of that. Of course, I polished all the axles. Those have independent fronts, so I made sure that they weren't floppy. And I was just talking about this with my buddy. I still cannot get one of the front tires spun much better than the other one. You know, you give them the little flick test, and one would spin, 40 seconds, and one would spin 20. And I finally got tired of messing with it. And of course, the stock gears are so bad. I actually forgot the car was on the break-in, and I think I left it run for 6 hours. And I ended up with I ran I believe it's got a 22.5 Piranha. No, a 21.5 Piranha, and whatever the stock gear that came, like a 26. And it's still noisy and rattly. And I think Wayne gave me the tip of, mix some grease in there with the toothpaste. And then I went and bought some semi-chrome polish, and I used that. And it was okay, but it's still not very good. I glued the motor in. Everything was good. It was as good as I can make it, and it was just okay. And if you go to the thread, this guy here, the guy that won, Weston, he talks about not running rear body screws. He put an M2, like a 6 or 7 mil set screw in the rear, and let it run loose like that. I tried all that stuff, adjusting they got the little inserts on the body with them, without them, O-rings. I had so much time in that car, it was ridiculous, and it's just okay.
For
Like I
clarity,
said,
is yours the Alpha 22?
yeah, sorry, the pink car. I had I'm the Zero. I had a weak moment. That was, Dennis doesn't know it, but he runs pink cars, so I paid a little homage to Dennis, sending in a pink car. Of course, I'm a Benetton fan from way back, so I've got a boatload of stickers. So most everything is Proxy is Benetton. I have not watched the Proxy yet. Of course, he's got a little video on it, and I had a pretty good. I mean, I was really surprised how good my car was, and I ended up 7th. And you can see,
look who's at number 3.
Yep, Yona was 3rd, and these top 3, were pretty close. But there's 5 cars on 55 laps, so I was 0.09. I was a 10th of a lap from being 6th. So it's a heck of a deal when guys from all over the country and all over the world send in cars, and there's 8 cars within a lap and a half. That's pretty wild. So whatever else you want to know about my Revo slot car, I'm not a Revo guy. I mean, I can build a car, but the Revo slots elude me.
Do we replace any parts from stock?
No, I think I took the spring out of the guide, and we were allowed to shim the car to lower it, so I did put some shims under the rear end. But I think I ran the stock screws. I did not run the rear motor mount. I got the motor kind of set where I wanted it, and I shoe glued it in. And I ran some lead. I ran some little lead on the outside edges. I didn't put anything on the center pod, which I normally do. I chased that car 6 ways a Sunday. I was so glad to see that thing leave. And I was actually embarrassed watching qualifying, thinking my car is going to be so bad, because he puts it on the track and it buzzes like a chainsaw. So,
is it louder than the others then, Courtney?
It doesn't seem to be. I mean, just it's probably a little bit of being self-conscious. And I don't think I held this up yet. I do run on all the metal cars. I run this dampening tape. It's red 3M tape. I think most of you guys have seen it. Slot car shops carry it. So actually, on this car, I ran 3 strips on the outer edge where the body mount is. I ran a piece on the main plane, and then I ran 2 pieces in the body, just trying to quiet it down. If you and if you go back and look at the picture, I also cut my own Lexan glass for it, and they come with the Lexan interior. And if you notice, I usually don't there's no headlight buckets in it. I just put a sticker in there. Anywhere that stuff comes from glued from the inside, I usually just glue in a little piece of construction paper.
Where did you put the tape?
On the like this. Actually, I forgot I had this one. This is a Celica. And if you notice, I got tape here. This one I actually have 5 grams of tungsten, but on the other car I put the dampening tape there.
Okay, so
and actually,
the tape is literally there to help absorb vibrations. They're not contacting anything else.
That's the idea, yeah.
Wow.
You didn't think to try gel tape between the outer and inner chassis parts then, like the steel chassis do?
Yeah, so this one has not gel tape. This one has Gorilla Tape.
Mm-hmm.
I took Gorilla Tape, and the one guy at War Eagle River, he talks about putting it on the chassis. What I ended up doing on this particular car, this is the Celica, which did not do very well. Again, it was okay. I ended up putting the Gorilla Tape on the body mount, and then I got a real brand new X-Acto blade, and I just cut it out and I glued it up there because I didn't want to raise the T-nuts by putting them. So anyhow, it's the way. Sometimes I get it right, most of the time I get it wrong, and as my dad says, even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yes, I use that quote quite often.
And just with your front bearings, Courtney, did you soak them in anything? Like put them in a bath of what do you call it? I use Shellite lighter fluid.
Yeah, I ended up using brake clean. I grew up on brake clean and big car racing, so I have cans and cans of brake clean. So I did brake clean, and then I heated them up with a lighter a little bit to make sure everything was out of it, and then I oiled them with I forget what I use now. No, I've been playing with this right here. It's called Get Some.
Yes.
It's a lube for fishing reels. I have a fishing buddy.
But it's a very light lubricant. It's not a grease or a heavy lube.
Right. I'm afraid to let go of it because it'll float away. That's how light it is, Greg.
Yeah.
And so, I have a fishing buddy. I do not fish. I like catching fish, but I do not like fishing. So if you see me fishing, there's something wrong. And I also, on that point, I'd like to make a comment about capri pants. If you ever see me wearing capris, you're allowed to walk up and just slap me in the face because something is seriously wrong with me.
I don't even know what they are.
Completely over my head. What are we talking about there? Oh, trousers.
Yeah, some people call them clam diggers, capris. It was Courtney's fashion tip of the week because I'm a fashionista, as Greg knows.
Capris are basically
job on the t-shirt.
Capris are long shorts or short trousers, however you want to define that. Is basically below the knee but above the shin.
Yeah, we call them shants.
Shants.
Short part pants, and you need to kick your own butt if you get caught wearing those.
That's what I'm saying. Something's wrong. Like somebody's holding my family hostage or something like that.
Okay, so if we're just gonna just make it super concise, what you did to your Revo, you put some vibrational dampening tape just wherever it goes without touching anything. You removed the grease and whatever is in the bearings in order to replace it with the lightest possible oil you have available. And there's probably
Shims underneath the bearing blocks.
Well, what I really, yeah, well, we could lower the car. The tires, because the tires are so small, they would let us lower the car. So I put shims under the bearing carriers. What I really think made the most difference was sanding the chassis. That anodizing is really hard.
Is that on the edge of the chassis on those?
You know what?
What is
I saw.
What does the surface look like? Does it look raggedy?
It's anodized. So you took
Well,
off.
it's anodized.
I know, but I just on the edge. What does the edge look like?
No, the edge is smooth.
The marks on the edge.
Nope, it's a nice smooth edge. It may be a little, nah.
The sharp edge.
Yeah, it's not bad, and that's what I initially started to do, was to chamfer the edge. But as I started looking at it and trying to do it, I'm thinking,
that's not what you do. What you do is you round the edge, top and bottom.
I understand that, but I didn't have the time or the skills or the tools to do that. I am Revo slot challenged. I'm probably on the special needs Revo slot team.
Tell us more, Garth. Why full round?
Most of us are. Go ahead.
Well, it gets rid of the stress risers, I would assume.
There you go. There you go, right there. It's like 100 to 1,000. It's like a square to, when you think of the surface area, when I say round, I mean round on the top and the bottom, so that it's round. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the surface area of it after it's round, and look at the surface area. Measure the surface area when it's square. Okay, and you'll be astounded. Okay, what the difference is. You would think it doesn't mean a damn thing, but it's huge.
So
it's huge for vibration too. In fact, it's more huge for vibration than it is for anything else.
What you're talking about is basically deburring the heck out of everything.
I don't know. It's got to be smooth.
Increasing the surface area at the edge. Have you made it?
Hold on, too many people.
You don't want any. It's got to be round and smooth. You don't want any scratch marks or tool marks on it anywhere.
Yeah, Wayne.
Have you made the chassis more flexible by softening the edges then?
How would that? It's a metal chassis.
I can't see how that would do it.
No, not more flexible, but more. It won't be as it'll be a lot more quiet. Okay, it won't.
Because when air comes across and hits the
body, it won't rattle on the body. I mean, just micromanage that surface. Okay, you got a square or you got a round. Okay, and think about where that body is, or where that plate is in the chest. And keep in mind, I'm just saying this. I'm just talking shit out of my face here because I don't have a Revo slot. I'm just telling you about what the mechanics of the edge is.
So the question is, what tool would I use for that, Garth? Or do I just send it to Michigan?
Well, it depends. If it's hard coated aluminum, okay, can you file it?
That's what I was saying. Just get.
I would strip. If I was doing it, this is how I would do it. I would strip down the chassis down to nothing but the plate. Okay, I would file with a hand file of a mill file, not a rough file. Mill file. I would file a 45-degree chamfer on the top of and the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I would sand the crap out of it with wet sandpaper, like maybe 150 wet, okay, all the way around until the thing was completely round, and then I would buff it. And then
Well,
I would,
Send it to Michigan.
what?
That is the one thing. The one thing that I did do is it was either 600 or 800 sandpaper, and I sanded both sides of the chassis and that definitely helped with the movement. That's why I didn't use the tape.
Did you make? But how much?
That is.
Well, you had the right idea. You just had the wrong shape.
You're basically wanting to remove as much interference between the moving plates as possible without going nuts on it. And
well, if I was assembling a Revo, I wouldn't want those plates to touch one another ever.
And I don't think they really do for the most part. But
do they?
If you take the edge,
it's rad. What I'm suggesting,
the only place that they touch, I think, is the brass spacers that are on them.
Yeah.
So the bottom of here touches the plate.
Yeah.
So if you take a deburring tool, an aluminum deburring tool,
yeah,
and just take the edge off of, if you're not familiar with deburring tools, boy, get a pack of deburring tools, because basically you're just taking that hard 90 edge off of whatever material. I mean, it's
is that the thing with the swiveling cutter in the end of the handle, Greg, that you're referring to?
The only issue with that, if it's hard coat anodizing, deburring tool might grab. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is go ahead and
you're going to break the edge.
You get a deburring, when you get a pack of deburring tools, you get plastic, aluminum, steel, and then whatever is harder than steel. You basically get a pack of 4 for like 20 bucks or whatever it is. And then I use the plastic ones for all my 3D prints. You know, when they got little sharp edges, I do that all the time. But you've got the other ones for harder materials, right? So if you just take that 90-degree edge that is going to be on all of those, you know, water jet cut, laser cut, whatever cut thing that's just super sharp, cut your skin 90-degree thing, even after it's anodized, it's still fairly sharp. You just take that off. When you do a deburring tool, it's gonna give you a 45 or a little rounded corner on anything. Do that wherever things are going like this or like that or whatever, and they'll just move better.
He's basically saying the same thing that I'm saying. Okay,
I'm trying
to make it so big that that you can buff down to round on top and bottom. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
File, like Garth was saying, or a deburring tool is super easy, super useful.
A file would probably have to work because it's got so many nooks and crannies, as they say.
Do they sell chassis separately, Revo?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All of the parts, they're very good for that.
So I guess grab one as a spare and start playing with it.
Yeah, well, we got to find out what the next Revo slot proxy is. I don't buy them just to play with them. There's no shelf queens here at the.
Greg, can you highlight that?
Is that the tool that you were referring to, Greg? Because that's what I did with a little swivelly tip.
Yep, that's a deburring tool. What material is that for?
This is just a really hard steel tool. You can use it for anything.
No, okay. Well, you don't want to use something that's made for a hard material on a soft material because then you'll cut too deep.
No, this is metal. This is a metal deburring tool. You know.
So let me unspotlight you. The point I'm making is that different materials require different deburring tools.
Go to the tool and die shop, Courtney.
Don't just grab a deburring tool. If you're going to deburr aluminum, get an aluminum deburring tool. If you're going to deburr plastic, get a plastic deburring tool.
Don't say that at the tool and die shop. The guy will laugh at you.
If you're going to deburr steel, a steel deburring tool.
It's all about this is a hard. They're basically all have hard steel blades,
ahead and get
the way
a
they're
tight
ground.
burring tool and take that to plastic and see what happens. Until next week, everybody wave bye. Bye-bye.
Actually, before we go, sorry, too late.
Button.